And we would usually leave right around July 1st, so we'd get up there for the 4th of July. But that is my grandfather. That is Milton Cuskey. And he was the coolest dude. He took us fishing at a young age, taught us how to clean fish and how to say expletives when you're cleaning a fish, and all of a sudden you get I don't know, something that could cut your finger, and my grandpa would say something that probably I couldn't share tonight, but anyway, that's me and my older brother. We went out fishing that morning, and we would go out and fish in the morning and then have fish for breakfast. That's what they do in Minnesota. You catch northern pike, walleye, crappie, and whatnot, and we would troll behind a pontoon boat and just drag them in. It was just nonstop up there. That is Lake Pelican, Minnesota, right there. So from that day forward, I always knew I wanted to have my own lake house. And eventually, we'll get to some photos that show that. But one other thing I wanted to mention about my birth, I talked to Gene Glass about this, but I was born in Huntsville, Alabama.
Oh, yeah.
At Redstone Arsenal Army Hospital. My brother was born there as well. And soon thereafter, I was born, they moved back to Minnesota. He finished his time in the Army, but my dad, he was ROTC at North Dakota State, and he made 4.0 GPA in mathematics. And he got out of college and was immediately a second lieutenant. And instead of going to NOM, he was handpicked and sent down to Redstone Arsenal to help build rockets, rocket engines. And my dad, with a slide rule, helped calculate how to get rockets into space, and he helped build the Saturn rocket that put the chimp into space. So my dad was a true rocket scientist. So just wanted to talk a little bit about my dad for a minute. He's 86. He's up in Fort Smith, Arkansas, still kicking. My mom, God bless her soul, she's gone. But anyway, yeah, just trying to pull out some old pictures there. That's right there on the dock in Minnesota. So. I'm sorry?
No, this is my brother. That's my brother.
Yeah, the blonde is my older brother. I think I was probably about 7 or 8 in that picture. I hadn't quite caught up to him, but I soon did, soon thereafter.
Yeah, I can see you're catching up.
Yeah, so anyway, I got the height in the family somehow. I think I got that from my Grandpa Johnson, Norwegian from North Dakota. But anyway, good stringer there full of fish. So yeah, let's move on. Shane's like, yeah, this is getting boring. All right, oh wow, let's jump ahead to confirmation. So yeah, I was brought up in a Lutheran church, ELCA, and I think I was probably 14. I got a Bible that day and got confirmed, and yeah, no, I believe in the Lord wholeheartedly. So had a good upbringing. My parents made sure that we went to church just about every Sunday. You know, so it's all good.
I just showed your grandson that Bible this last week.
I do. We still have that Bible in our house. So anyway, yeah, good-looking young man right there. Oh, there I am with my grandparents. There's Grandpa and Grandma Johnson, Grandpa and Grandma Cuskey. The little short lady there on the right, her name is Leona Cuskey, and I now have a granddaughter who is 7 months old, and her name is Leona.
Cool.
How cool is that?
It's a great song.
Yeah, that's right. But anyway, then obviously the man next to her is my Grandpa Milton, and then next to them is my Grandpa and Grandma Johnson. Evan Johnson, he was a well driller. My grandmother, she was the high school, actually she was the entire school district cafeteria lady in Buffalo, North Dakota. Schools were pretty small up there, so everybody was in the same building. But yeah, and my Grandpa Johnson, he was actually willow witcher. You guys know what that is?
Yeah.
Where they have the willow, and he goes around and he would find the water up there. He was known for that. So yeah, those are my grandparents. And they really impacted me throughout my life. But anyway, yeah. Let's move on.
You in the background?
Yeah, that was me standing behind him.
Oh, so you did go to
Yeah, I was probably, I don't know, maybe 20 or so. I think I was probably already in college and just came up and saw them. Yeah, love my grandparents. All right, there's my mother over there on the left. My beautiful mother, Janice Cuskey. And that was our home in the Woodlands, Texas. I'd already graduated high school and whatnot, and then there we are with my dad, and there's my brother again. You can see he's actually a little forward there, so he looks almost as tall as me, and that's my dad right there in the middle, and that was our cat. That was my cat. His name was Sid. I just happened to remember that. So anyway, that was a good Christmas. Had some pictures from that. All right, let's step back just a little bit. Played some high school football. You can see me in the back there with the fro, kind of blonde, frizzy hair, because I was a swimmer too. So I swam, played football, ran track, and was in the band as well. But,
What was your number?
I was number 88.
So you were a receiver.
I was a receiver. I was a tight end, and back in the day, you would play both ways. I would play defensive end as well.
Are you behind 14 or 70?
What's that?
Are you behind number 14?
I'm behind number 14 there, right between behind number 21 and number 14 there.
Yeah.
Both of those guys are really good friends of mine too. So, yeah, we were a good group, but look at that. We only had like what? I mean, what was there, 20 guys up there? So a lot of us played both ways. It was just part of the way you played football back then.
Yep.
I love football. It was a good time. So, but I did give up football after my junior year and focused on swimming. My coach was really kind of PO'd at me. He had big plans for my senior year as a tight end. I told him, nope, I'm not going to college on a football scholarship. I might on a swimming scholarship. So just had to focus on that.
Did you?
I did. Let's move on here. Okay, so when I was 14 years old, I was a freshman in high school at Aldine High School in Houston. They had not built Nimitz yet, so Nimitz High School was a brand new high school they built. But anyway, I played trombone, and I was able to make the marching band as a freshman, which was kind of unusual. You know, sometimes you have to wait junior, whatever year. But anyway, I made it. And so in this stadium, Aldine High School football stadium, it was kind of old already. And so the band was in the same location for years. And at the very top of the stands was where the tuba players, trombone players, and all that were at the top. So more bigger guys, you know, and so they did we had a school song called The Horse. You may not know what that is, but anyways, it was a known song. So we were the Aldine Mustangs, so we played this really cool song, and the whole band would move in cadence when we're playing it, and they would go step up on the bleacher and then step back down. And from the field, it looked pretty cool because the whole band would move at once. Okay. So for 25, 30 years or so, the big guys would be up there and they would step up and step down during the fight song and whatnot. Well, freshman year that night, we stepped down, punched a hole right into that stadium. I was 33 feet up in the air where my feet were. And we fell, me and 5 other guys fell all the way down onto the ground below.
And you've never been the same since.
Yeah, I still have. What was that, Fred?
You've never been the same since.
I've never. You're exactly right. So anyway, this went across the news, the national news, as a stadium collapse in Houston. So it actually went across the national news that there was a stadium collapse. Little did they know it was just one little section of the stadium. But regardless, I fell all the way down. I landed right on my butt. I still have dreams of me trying to move my arms to make sure that I landed on my feet, but I don't remember going to the game. I mean, I totally had a concussion. I broke both wrists. And so I just thought I'd put that up there.
What instrument did you play?
Trombone.
And did your trombone get broken?
It did. It was total loss. Yeah, that was my mom's trombone, actually. We had it completely redone. But anyway, I just thought I'd go ahead and add that in here. Kind of interesting part of my life. So, this is kind of out of chronology here. But that is me over there in the far left. And that guy just to the right of me, or wait, to the left of me, that's London. He was actually in that picture of us in football right in front of me. Really one of my best friends. Anyway, I was already transferred to UT, and we had an intramural team at UT that we won 3 years in a row after I finished at TCU, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But anyway, we took that picture. It's down in Austin off of Moffrey's. There's a little park down there. And so we were called the Seagram 7. How cool is that? That was the name of our swim team, and we won the intramural meet at UT 3 years in a row with 7 swimmers. We made sure, no, we can only have 7. Sorry. We're the Seagram 7. So yeah, that's a cool picture. I'm over there on the left. I had some facial hair and whatnot. Oh my gosh, there I am. Oh! Yeah, so I wasn't wearing glasses back then. I actually wore contacts, trying to get all the pretty girls, you know. And that's my senior. That's my senior picture. Yeah.
Looks like you had fur.
That's naturally curly hair. My grandmothers were like, "You have the best hair. I wish I had your curly hair." Anyway, yeah, you're pretty good looking guy, I guess. Okay, so my senior year in high school, we had a coronation at the end of the year, every year, and we had a homecoming king and queen or whatever in the fall, but this is in the spring, so this was high school coronation, and so all of your classmates would vote on you, whoever was the most popular, smartest, and whatnot, and so for some reason I was voted Mr. Nimitz back in the day. So they had a whole thing in the yearbook, and so that's me with my trophy, and the other guys that I beat out, they're all good friends of mine and so forth, but anyway, that's me. I was pretty successful in high school. So. Okay, this is what I'm really proud of. So those are my 4 report cards. Freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior year. I make straight A's. I make straight A's. And not only did I make straight A's in every class, but I also made straight A's on every final exam as well. So that's all reflected in these report cards. My mother had the wherewithal to save them all and have them framed. There's also like conduct grades in there, and you have satisfactory, unsatisfactory, poor. There's a couple of situations where I made A's, but my conduct was P or U or anyway. I found myself in the principal's office a few times just because I was kind of a cut too. So I just had a well-rounded high school experience. So. Anyway, those are my 4 years of straight A's. And that's a good buddy of mine, Jimmy Head. We, after our graduation walk, we all met back at the high school, and we had this picture. I only had this picture up there because that's my baby blue Ford Pinto that we're leaning up against. Yeah, my brother got a 66 Mustang, and I got a Ford Pinto. I did put 9 wheels on it. It looked pretty cool. So,
Did he have better grades?
No, he did not have better grades. But he did tell me my freshman year, he goes, and he was 4 years ahead of me. He was a senior. He goes, if you keep making straight A's, you'll get valedictorian. I was like, okay, I'm going to go for valedictorian. I did not get valedictorian because the way they did grades back then, if you were in athletics and music, for instance, you did not get the same credit.
That's right, you got half a credit.
Yeah, you got less credit. So I actually came in 4th in my class. Anyway, so I got it. Yes. You move on now. So yeah, my senior year, I did qualify for nationals in the 500 freestyle. I was good at distance swimming. I was also really good at backstroke and butterfly. So I went to nationals. Over here is the Texas State meet. I qualified for state my junior year in high school as well as my senior year in high school. It was a relay my junior year, but my senior year I qualified in both the 100 free and the 100 backstroke and the 100 butterfly. And I ended up placing 4th in each of my events, so I was just out of the medals. But it was good enough for TCU to offer me a swimming scholarship. I went on a recruiting trip to A&M, U of H, and I think that's it. And I really wanted to go in A&M. There's a lot of people in here that like A&M over UT. I don't know why. Anyway, they only offered me a partial ride, and weeks later, I got a letter. Back then, you would get letters in the mail. And I got a letter from the head coach at TCU wanting me to come up on a recruiting trip. So they put me on an airplane. I went up to Fort Worth and hung out with some of the other swimmers up there. And at the end of the weekend, he offered me a scholarship, full scholarship. So I ended up going to TCU on a swimming scholarship. Private school, there's no way I was going to that school without a scholarship. So anyway, my parents were pretty proud of me. So anyway, yeah, it was pretty successful. Oh, here's a repeat of high school graduation. Getting handed my diploma. I was National Honor Society, magna cum laude, and all that good stuff. So big
You're
deal.
only fourth in your class.
What's that?
You're only fourth in your class.
I only ended up fourth in my class. So. The class were about 420, I guess. All right, let's move on. All right, now we move on to college. Like I said, I went to TCU. That's my freshman year picture. I was there for 2 years. I was a 2-year letterman. I, for some reason, have a program from the 1982 Southwest Conference. But people may recall that we were known as the Southwest Conference at one time. And that guy on the cover there, that's Scott Spann. He was an Olympian in breaststroke, so he was so much better than me. But anyway, he was on the cover of the program, but I did letter 2 years at TCU. Did make the consolation finals at Southwest Conference Championship. First year in the 200 butterfly, and then the next year I actually made it in the 500 free. So pretty successful. I ended up hanging up my goggles in 84, because I didn't quite make the cutoff for the Olympic trials. I missed it in the 200 butterfly by 1/10 of a second. So I was just wanting to make the Olympic trials would have been a big success for me. But anyway, I ended up transferring to the University of Texas after my sophomore year and got a real education. So, best move I made. Yeah, it's pretty good. And there it is. There's that piece of paper that I got from UT. So that was the springboard, obviously, for success in the business world. I got a degree in business administration, majoring in finance. Banks were closing their doors back then in the mid-'80s. And so I ended up going to work for Farmers. I had a buddy of mine that was an underwriter at Farmers at the time, beer drinking buddy of mine, and he goes, "Hey, I hear they're hiring at the claims office in South Austin." I was like, "Well, what's that?" So I went in and I interviewed. Next thing you know, I started, I think the next day, I met with the manager. He liked me. Within 10 minutes, he offered me a job, and I've been working for Farmers ever since. This was September 16th, 1986. Just celebrated 37 years with Farmers here a couple months ago. So yeah, there it is. Oh, and there I am, pretty skinny guy. That is a little bit better car. That's my LTD2 with the 351 Windsor. That baby would, something to get, you know what I'm saying. And that place, the Beverage Barn, is still there off of Riverside Drive in South Austin. And I actually ran that place while I was going to UT. So I got free gas. When I gave up swimming, I smoked cigarettes quite a bit back then. So I got free cigarettes, free beer.
Is that baby blue too?
It is baby blue. Couldn't get away from the baby blue. It's an LTD2, but it did have some really cool racing stripes on the side, the dark blue and whatnot. It was a cool car, I have to say. Had Spark-O-Matic 100-watt speakers in the back, so that thing would thump. So, yeah, that's a cool picture. All right, and now here comes reality. Yes, good things, good times. So, some of you guys, I may have told you this, but Arlene's little brother, Danny, we were roommates at TCU. And we were best friends. And when Arlene and I first met was the day that we moved into our dormitory. And Arlene didn't like me whatsoever. She thought I was some kind of a nerd. I had Izod shirts that were all perfectly pressed and everything. But we met a few years later, and man, she knocked my socks off. We met at a party, and it's like, wow. Anyway, yeah, things. And that was just a few months later. We decided to go ahead and get hitched. So we got married up in Texas Women's University at the chapel there in Denton. That's where we got married. So this was in front of her parents' house. Yeah, it's been an amazing ride. So I wore boots, as you can see, so that I could be as tall as my wife. She wore flats. And so she was about an inch taller than me and always made me stand up straight. So, all right, let's keep on going. Okay, and there we are. Here's our little girl, Ashley. A couple years later. Look at that. Oh my gosh, we were so young, sweetie. What happened? Oh, and here we are. There's Danny. There's my buddy. God rest his soul. He's not with us anymore, but there we are. We're about ready to hit the road on a trip up to Minnesota to the lakes. We borrowed her parents' Chevy custom van, but anyway, that's a good day. Yeah. And here we are. Oh my gosh, who's that other little guy? So that's Michael. He came along a couple years later. We did have a miscarriage in between, which is kind of a sad story. But anyway, there's Michael Wayne Cuskey. And Ashley. And that's a good picture of us at Christmas time at Arlene's parents' house. So move forward here a few years. There we are again. We're in Branson, Missouri. We're on the riverboat there on the lake. We sat at the captain's table. He came and sat with us later. But yeah, it's a great picture. I just told Arlene I'd like to have that picture in with this little show here. So I'm really proud of my family. My daughter Ashley, and yeah, so. Okay, here we are. Where are we here?
Honey, we took Ashley and moved to New York.
Oh, okay. Yeah, this is after Ashley graduated college from UMD, University of Minnesota Duluth. She got a degree in drama. So she had to either move to Chicago or New York City. She was scared of New York City, and Arlene talked her into going to New York City. And that was a good choice. So, yeah, I think we could just come out of the tunnel. I think we were right there at Times Square. I'm pretty sure. So, okay, here, moving on down. There we are, Vikings fans. Here we are. This is our lake house in Minnesota. In the kitchen there, we're doing Christmas cookies. I'd already got my son hooked on the Minnesota Vikings. We had a tough night last night. We won't talk about that. Okay, so here we are. That's after they sent me out to home office. I kind of made a name for myself in Texas, rose up through the ranks because my wife said, no, you cannot be an auto adjuster the rest of your life. So started climbing the ladder and ended up being a branch claims manager for farmers out in Longview, Texas. And I had 60 adjusters reporting under me at that time. And all of a sudden I got an invite to go out to home office, Wilshire Boulevard in Los Angeles. And here I am being a project manager. We transformed our claims department from all paper into an electronic claims format that we still use today. And there I am shaking the hands of our CEO, Marty Feinstein, back then. And those are all my peers there. My boss there with the dark beard, that's Frank Saldano. He's a brilliant man. So, good times. Oh, and this was when I was branch claims manager out in Longview. George Bush was governor at the time. And we had a check to give to the senator at the time. I think his last name was Ratliff or whatever. So I had a check from the Farmers Employee Political Action Committee to give to a Republican senator at the time. And then Arlene, I'm waiting in line to give this check to this senator. And Arlene taps me on the shoulder and she goes, isn't that G-Dub over there? He was all by himself, walking in this big old pavilion there in Longview. And he had a little notepad. I mean, he was completely by himself. And Arlene's like, that's George W. Bush. So we made a beeline over to him. I got out of that line and we went over there and introduced ourselves, shook his hand, and I talked to him about uninsured motorists at the time. I said, this is a really bad problem. You need to fix this. So,
Are you wearing heels?
no, I don't think I had heels on then, or boots. Anyway, so my secretary at the time snapped this shot. Really cool. So, yeah. Okay. So there it is. You guys may have come by my house. You'll see this boat out in front, and it's got a cover on it right now. It's been restored once before. That boat, my grandfather Milton bought it on the showroom floor, Larson Boat Company in Little Falls, Minnesota. And at the time when he bought it, it was probably one of the fastest boats that you could buy. The boat was fiberglass. The first year that Larson made a fiberglass boat, little four-seater runabout, 14-footer with a 30 horsepower Johnson on the back that probably weighs about as much as a 100 horsepower motor these days. But that thing would scoot. So anyway, I had the boat restored at one point. Still looked pretty good there. We named it Spirit Filled. But this was the day that we finally launched our first boat on West Red River Lake in Minnesota. And I'd always wanted to have a lake house in Minnesota. And we actually accomplished that outside of Fergus Falls. So anyway, just a proud picture there, really pretty day. I think the ice had been off the water for maybe a month or so. But anyway, I think Arlene snapped that picture. There we are out in Balboa Island. That's Newport Harbor with the red boat. So we had it out there when we were out in California, and we stayed at Arlene's parents' beach house several times. They never had a boat all the years that they had their beach house. So I was able to bring that boat down. We would rent a mooring right there on Newport Harbor and take it out. You can see coming in, that is actually the Newport Flyer that's coming in from Catalina Island. That was timed exactly when we were out there. Looks like a beer there in the console. But anyway, that's my brother-in-law Dan, best friend. So anyway, okay, and here we are. That is our frontage when we first put in our first dock, and we only had the one boat then, but we ended up with about 5 or 6 boats before we left. So yeah, good times. Pretty place. It's actually one of the only man-made lakes in the entire state of Minnesota. That is the Ottertail River that is dammed up. Has hydroelectric and whatnot, but really a neat, it's kind of a miniature version of Lake Travis. So, all right, let's keep going. I see
You
some
didn't have
people
5
down.
or 6 boats at the same time, did you?
I did. Yeah, I had a aluminum Lund fishing boat, I had a pontoon boat, I had a canoe, I had a Woody. I don't think I have a picture of the Woody. That was a cool boat too. But yeah, at one point I had 3 docks and 5 boats. And every year you got to take that stuff out of the water because it freezes over. 2 foot thick. Yeah, 2 foot thick of ice. So there's a good day on the lake catching a bunch of sunnies.
And fish.
Yeah, but just really good eating, for sure. So anyway, let's keep on going. Okay, let's move forward. Ashley's wedding day. That was down in Kyle, Texas at Winfield Inn. A really proud day for me and Arlene. Look at my beautiful daughter. Yeah, she's tall too, of course. Oh, and there's Ashley and our son-in-law Stuart, and there's my son Michael. That was a good picture of us. I tell you, that place looks like a southern plantation. If you've ever been down there in Kyle, Texas, beautiful, beautiful place. So, yep, good day. Okay, here we are back out in California, in Newport Harbor. That is my brother-in-law's jet boat. I'm smoking a stogie right there. Another good day. Okay, actually, this is my granddaughter. That's Leona right there. That was probably taken maybe a couple months ago, I guess, in our kitchen. Yeah. And there we are out in Bonnaroo. That's a music festival in, man, what is it? Somewhere in Tennessee. What's the name of that place? No, is it? I can't remember. Mansfield?
Sure.
Yeah. Anyway, good time. You can see I'm having a good time. That's my grandson. That's Bear. Spelled B-E-X-A-R from Bear County.
Oh.
So, yeah. Very creative name. Here we are back out in California for my niece's wedding out there. I love this picture. Leona wasn't with us yet. Michael was still pretty young, but it's a good picture of my family and I.
Who's the girl on the right?
Oh, and that's my daughter-in-law. That is Marcy. Ms. Wheeler knows all about Marcy Kesky. She was the secretary there at the elementary school for a few years. Now she's moved up to the IT department of the school district here in Loma Vista. So, but there's my son. Yeah, he's taking over. He's going to be taking over the agency. Okay, here we are back in Minnesota. That is Ottertail Lake. That is Zorba's, one of the coolest restaurants up there. You just boat up, have pizza and beer and so forth. And beautiful place. That's Stuart and Ashley, and that's my nephew Jason and his never-to-be wife, Amber, but still gave me 2 nieces. So yeah, we love Amber. Okay, here we are just last spring. Arlene got honored. She was also a swimmer, and she was part of the Dallas Dr. Pepper swim team, and that swim team got honored by the Texas Swimming Hall of Fame. And so we went down there for her to get honored. And so that was right there in front of the AT&T hotel there on UT campus. So good looking picture, I have to say.
Yeah.
Where is that? That's Balboa Pier, I believe. We've got our Zorba sweatshirts on from Minnesota, but yeah, that's the Pacific Ocean. Oh, here we are again at the Texas Swimming and Diving Hall of Fame later on that evening where Arlene got honored.
We were inducted.
We what?
We were inducted.
You were inducted into the... That's right.
Cool.
Yeah. This was Lindsay's wedding. That was our niece's wedding out in California. So, good time there. Oh, look at there. Spring forward to Lions Club, Point Venture. Let's do some trash pickup and have some donuts. More trash pickup. Awesome. Oh, 4th of July. How many hot dogs did we serve? 680 or something?
Almost 700.
Yeah.
A bunch.
Drill team came through. All right, here's some UT stuff. Had Johnny over.
Yeah.
That was the game where we played Alabama last year. And we ended up somehow losing that one. Got the rubber bench done this year. But anyway, yeah, we try to make a game every year and stuff. So that's Lago Golf Course. We did the PTO golf tournament. Showed up there representing the Cusky Insurance Agency. We had a threesome. Wish we had a 4th. We sucked that day. All right, here we are on the back of our friend's boat out there on our beloved Lake Travis. I think the water was a little higher then. It's dropped a little bit, but yeah.
Pretty sunset.
Yeah, one of many that we get to see. So I think we're wrapping up. There's Bear on the left. And there he is again between Arlene and I in the golf cart. Look at that kid. I took him out to the driving range here a couple weeks ago. He wouldn't keep his eye on the ball, so he kept hitting the ground. I bought him some little set of clubs and so forth. He'll catch them eventually, but probably not good for me because Fred knows my swing. He sees how crappy.
Justin will.
Yeah, retirement will help. Oh, that's it.
That's
Very
it.
Hopefully you enjoy you guys tonight. Angela, thank you so much for putting that together.
You're so welcome.
Tom got roasted last year, and, so kind of set the standard. Thank you so much, Angela.
You're welcome.
Good job.
All right. Let's keep on going here. That probably took much longer than we were supposed to. All right, next up, concert in the Village. Donna Hafner is going to give us an update. It's coming up next Sunday. This Sunday. No, this Sunday.
So I'm serving 2 duties again today, but I'll get to that in a minute. So Concert in the Village, we are all geared up for it. We have filled 70 seats, so I'm super pumped about that. Really excited. We've got wine tasting, we have tequila tasting, we have a fabulous social hour with appetizers. We have a phenomenal silent auction. I will send the silent auction sheet